Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for today's webinar. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. My name is Jackson Root, Content Creative Marketing Manager here at DTEN. And today I am absolutely thrilled to present to you a new solution for small rooms, what we're calling our new small room solution kit. We have a lot to cover today. We're going to break this thing down. We're going to talk about what's in the kit. We're going to talk about the high-level benefits for small rooms. I'm super excited about this webinar, and I'm also honored to be joined by Scott Krueckeberg, our Head of Strategic Alliances at DTEN, and Adrian Boyd, our Sales Solution Engineer as well. Couple things before we jump in. We have disabled chat as a best practice for webinars. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop it into the Q&A. Many of them we'll dig out as we go. A few we'll save for time at the end, which we do have some time slated at the very end of this guy. So please use Q&A. That's for you to use. It's really your best way to get in touch with us during the webinar here. So today we are blowing the lid off of a brand new product solution for DTEN. This is our new DTEN Small Room Solution Kit. We're going to talk a little bit about what is the new small room solution. Why are we rolling that out now? It's a really great question. Supercharge hybrid work in small meeting spaces. This thing absolutely is just a little workhorse when you drop it into small rooms. So we're going to talk about what it does and how it works. We're going to talk about the two main components of the kit. That's the DTEN bar and the DTEN mate. And then we'll talk a little bit about how it stacks up against some of the competition that you're seeing as well. We also have a recorded demo. So we'll see it live from our head of channel sales, Mr. Dave Silverstein. We'll see it in his home office. So definitely a lot to jump right in. We kind of kept this under wraps until this morning. We had some PR going out earlier today, and then you probably saw something on social about it. But here's the new DTEN small room solution. The whole idea here is that it allows you to instantly transform small meeting spaces into dynamic and efficient collaborative environments for Zoom rooms and easy BYOD. So we really thought about what do folks need for hybrid work in small meeting spaces. And so we put together this kit. And we decided not to roll out a single solution. Like we could have just rolled out the bar, but we decided we want to roll out a small kit that folks can use to deploy small spaces. We're talking about small rooms, 15 foot by 15 foot, excuse me, 4.5 meters by 4.5 meters. Absolute great coverage for those spaces, both with video and audio coverage. And then of course it comes with that single BYOD cable you can put on the desk. So you can plug in a laptop there and instantly share content. So one thing that you're seeing in a lot of the images that we just already have flipped through is that one thing that's very unique about the new DTEN bar is that you can mount it above or below or vertically between two displays. This is the first bar of its class that can do that. So super cool. We're going to be talking a lot more about that feature as we go here. But the other thing I just want to call your attention to is the fact that it's the bar with the DTEN mate. The DTEN mate is our award-winning room controller. So you can pick this up with the mate Wi-Fi or the mate PoE at the same cost. It's your choice there. So very, very cool little solution, something that we've been getting asked for a very long time. And so we've really been spending a tremendous amount of time making sure that this bar absolutely kicks butt before we brought it to market. So now that's where we're here today. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in Q&A. Fantastic. Please keep the questions coming. I absolutely love when you guys are engaging directly with us in the webinar. A lot of times I'm here talking, and I love having that two-way feedback. So thank you for that.
So super exciting stuff, right, Jackson? And you know, I think one of the best things about the bar here is, you know, it kind of fills our commitment that we've made the last couple of years to our customers about being flexible, right? So being multi-platform, being able to take those meetings that are critical, right, regardless of platform, and then also being that single vendor for your entire return to office strategy, deploying that hybrid work model, redesigning your spaces. So now we have that last critical element, right, to have multiple designs for our customers. So like you said, single screen, dual screens, non-touch, with touch. Now you can add a companion Zoom room with a D7X on a cart and really just have all these different design options. So, I think our IT audience really loves it because the security, right, the compute, the things that it's bringing to the table for that device longevity, managing everything together. But then also the facility managers and the room designers are really, involved in these spaces where they want to add collaboration, right? Maybe they have existing displays. There's all these different options now that our customers have of really designing and supplementing their tech, and the bar is that new critical piece that kind of completes everything they need in the portfolio.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's been kind of a long time coming, and that's just because we've baked so much more utility into this, and we're going to talk about every aspect of this new solution. But a couple of questions I'm seeing right off the top: does this require compute? Absolutely not. This has the baked-in Zoom Rooms or Microsoft Teams Rooms meeting software. That'll come a little bit later on. For Teams, it's ready at GA, which is today.
Yeah. What's great about the bar is it runs off the SoC of our large touch devices, right? It has Android 12, everything that's kind of, so you can deploy this, mix it with other D10 devices, and still have that roadmap where you can know you're safe investing in the hardware, because this is going to be certified and it's going to be current for many years down the road.
So let's talk in detail a little bit more about the small arm solution as a kit. And the reason why I say as a kit is because the bar really works super well with the D10 Mate. We're really suggesting that you pair this with the D10 Mate. It will work in a Zoom Rooms environment with other certified Zoom Rooms controllers, but there's a very nice harmony that happens in the room when you combine this with the Mate. There's a question there about, does it have to require the Mate? It doesn't require the Mate. It can work without the Mate. But it's just, it really works well, particularly with the Mate Wi-Fi, excuse me, which allows you that wireless control of the room to walk around the room, admit participants, control music, sound volumes, adjust mic volume levels, mute participants, admit participants, control screen sharing, like you can see in this image here on the right, where the presenter is holding the D10 Mate Wi-Fi and controlling the room there. So one thing super cool about this solution is being able to actually provide eye-level meeting experiences when you mount it vertically between two displays. Scott, this is something we talk about a lot in all these webinars, right? What's the factoid? It's like 85% of meetings nowadays, particularly in hybrid work, have some element of shared media.
Yeah, share your screen, right? Some sort of presentation, even collaboration like whiteboarding, right? This is definitely a constant that's been in the workflow, right, for quite some time. And the embracement of collaboration and those tools continues to grow, right? Month over month, we see more utilization of sharing that content, annotating over that content, right? There's a lot of media and sharing that definitely happens within today's meetings.
The one thing too I want to call out on this slide is we're calling special attention to the single cable BYOD. So the solution kit ships with that USB-C cable. It's a 6-foot, 1.8 meter cable in the box. What's so cool about that cable is that it provides video signal, allows you to share content directly onto the bar and the connected display. And it also provides 65-watt laptop charging as well. So just a little added convenience for folks that are in the room. You plug this into your laptop, USB-C, it'll also charge your laptop while you're presenting content. So it's just one less cable to have on the table. It's really nice. And two, before we move off of this slide, one thing to think about the D10 bar is we've really essentially taken the guts of our D7X Android and packed it into a bar. So think about all the things the D7X Android does, just without the display, of course. And that's kind of a nice way to think about what the bar works and how it functions and the level of quality of meeting that it provides.
Yeah, there's definitely no drop in feature when you're comparing to an experience of our all-in-one device. So this is on par with the D7X Android. Like I said, the SoC, the compute, the version of Android. All these are on par with our all-in-one devices. They're going to support the latest Zoom Rooms features, the latest Teams Rooms features when that is released. So we have maybe a 2-quarter roadmap of rolling out the bar, the small room kit for multiple platforms, and it is designed to support the features that you see now. So there's a lot of questions in Q&A around, does it do this? Does it do that? It is just as feature packed as our all-in-one D7X. So the things like Smart Gallery are in there, the microphone array is in there, the D10 AI, the processing, all this stuff is still happening because it is, a non-touch version of our D7X basically, and you can expect that same feature-rich environment regardless of what platform you end up choosing and supporting for your meetings.
Yeah, and I think eagle-eyed viewers on the call right now might already be reading into the slide deck here, but aside from how incredibly versatile the solution is, being able to mount it above, below, or vertically between 2 displays, you can also, a little bit later on, you'll be able to combine this with the D10 View series cameras. So talk about scalability and extensibility there, right? You deploy this into a small room right now. Later on down the road, you decide that you want a few more camera angles in the room. Maybe you want to really make the most of Zoom Room's Smart Gallery, which absolutely is supported by the solution. You can add the D10 View cameras, and you get that many more viewing angles in the room for Smart Gallery Intelligent Director to pull from, slice and dice views, and optimize that room view for remote participants.
Absolutely. The small room solution is just the beginning, and we'll continue to release, more room solutions, right? The extensibility, being able to expand, and it's a good time to also talk about those, because you can bring an extra camera in from companion Zoom Rooms now. You will be able to add View Pro in the future and expand, right, how many cameras you're managing in a room. So like you said, we could have just released a bar, but we know it's not the full solution. The meeting room is the solution. So having like you said, an award-winning console on the table where it's wireless or PoE, all the feature-rich, stuff that you expect from the platform parked into the bar. So it's a really powerful solution, really flexible. In the audio, the video, right, we're getting amazing feedback on the quality, right, of the device. So it's what you would expect from our high-end all-in-one devices baked into this solution. So you can deploy really flexible spaces, right? We're giving you the recommendation based on our platform certifications, right? Industry kind of standards on what you should put in these size rooms. So we're definitely knocking it out of the park. I think you'll see in the demo, right, soon, that a small room is just the beginning of what we're going to do with this bar. But we will continue to go through this deck, right, and kind of fill in a lot of the gaps that I see in the chat. There's a lot of the answers to these questions already baked in here, and then I think the demo will really kind of solidify the quality of solution that we're bringing to market.
Yeah, thanks for that, Scott. And really quick before we move off this slide, because it does reference the BYOD cable, a lot of questions about what about like Google Meet with the USB-C cable is connected with a laptop in the room that's running Google Meet, and certainly you can use all of the components in the bar for that Google Meet meeting session. So the camera, the microphone, the speakers that are in the bar, which we're going to dig into in a minute here, you'll be able to use those as external peripherals with the attached laptop. So really there's so much versatility, so much utility in that cable. And there's another question too about, is that intended to stretch across the entire room? Well, it comes with a very short cable in the box. However, you can see on this slide here, we have 5-meter and 10-meter long USB-C cables that are available for purchase separately. These are cables that we've gone and sourced. These are D10 provided cables that we've vetted, we've co-developed and engineered with suppliers to make sure that it provides, auto sensing connection. You plug it into your laptop, it already knows that there's an external media source attached. It's rugged, it's smart, it connects directly to the bar, it screws in so the cable itself won't walk out of the room. Just really so much thought, so much care has been put into this solution. And by the way, guys, thank you again for all the activity and Q&A. Absolutely love it. I love the questions that guide us as we're moving through the deck. So please keep the questions coming. And Brian, thank you so much too for answering some of the questions with your comments in Q&A. I love that. So let's take a look at the bar in greater detail. So it is right out of the box, optimized for that small room setup. So we've packed so much into this bar. So we're talking about 4.5 meter, 5 meter by 5 meter size room, 15 foot up to 18 to 20 foot size square rooms. Absolutely will cover it. We're going to look at the demo in a minute here. We've got a recorded demo we're going to play. And you can see Dave walks all the way to the back of the room. It's like 28 feet away, and he still looks great and sounds great. So a lot of flexibility stuff we've already talked about, being able to mount it vertically and horizontally. It has a physical camera body inside that will adjust as the bar is rotated. So it's the actual camera itself will orient based on however you spin this thing. And it's a full 360. So you can rotate it vertically. You can then flip it upside down. And the camera will keep adjusting so that it's optimal for its placement in the room. Here's a little bit more in-depth look at what's behind the grill there. So stereo speakers on either side, 15-watt speakers. We're talking 30-watt stereo audio output. So very, very loud. This thing can definitely cover like noisy office environments, right? We have people walking around. Maybe somebody's running a vacuum next door or something. This thing, absolutely, the volume level can be heard by everybody in that room size. 12 microphones in this guy. So a full 12 microphone array. There's beamforming mics. You can see there's 4 of them that are placed on 2 on either side. And then 8 of them are centrally located around the camera in the center of the bar. So we've taken all of these sort of like capture peripherals, the microphone, the camera, we've put it into the middle of the bar so that however you place this guy, you're going to get that same user experience in the room, regardless of if you have it above, below, or vertically between the screens. And that's really important because one thing at DTEN that we're always talking about is this consistency of meeting experiences. Maybe you have some rooms in the office that have this mounted above the display. Maybe you have it mounted below, or you have it vertically between. We want to make sure that the audio pickup is the same. The camera vibe is the same in the room. So you feel like you're whichever room you're in, you're using that same technology so that none of your people in the room feel kind of like they don't like that room because it doesn't seem to behave the same way, right? We want to deliver that consistency of experience. A couple of things I want to talk about. Does have a physical privacy cover, which is super cool. So when the camera is toggled by your meeting room controller, whether it's the mate or something else, the camera will snap open. There's a plastic shutter on there that will snap open to indicate that the camera is rolling. And then when you toggle the camera off, the shutter will snap shut. It's a really nice action. It feels really good, looks really good. It sounds, you can hear it snap shut. So everybody in the room knows that the camera's been toggled off. And then it does have an LED status indicator ring, which is super cool. You can see right now it's illuminated green. It's green when the microphones are hot. So everybody in the room will see that the mics are green, means the mics are on and running. If you mute the room from your Zoom room controller, the ring will turn red, indicating that the mics have now been disabled. So it's very intuitive. Everybody knows what that means. Green means go, red means stop, right? Toggle the microphone on and off, ring turns red. Everybody knows that the room itself is now muted. And of course, it does have 4K UHD camera in there. It's providing plenty of pixels for Zoom Room Smart Gallery for auto framing on that digital sensor to go in and make sure that all the camera views are sharp and optimized there. Here's a look at the port side of the bar. So some questions about external peripherals. It does have 4 USB-A extension ports, 2 of which will be used for DTEN View when that comes out a little bit later on this year. Has full-size Ethernet slot there, 2 HDMI outs for dual screen support, has an HDMI in content ingest as well. So if you wanted to connect that to some external peripheral there for HDMI, you can. USB-C slot for the BYOD cable. It does have an 8-core ARM processor baked into this guy, so very powerful stuff there. And then it has a Kensington lock slot as well. So if you have this place maybe in a classroom or a public space where you want to make sure that it itself can't walk away, you can secure it with that slot. Here's a little bit more about the camera itself in the bar. So 8 megapixel camera there. 4K digital sensor, very professional quality camera that's placed in the center of this bar. That 12 microphone array. I will say, looking at other similar bars on the market for hybrid work for Zoom rooms, nothing has a 12 microphone array, so it's very comprehensive. The pickup is just optimized for that small to medium sized space there. 30-watt speaker output, absolutely loud enough to cover that room. The camera itself does capture at a 95-degree horizontal field of view, which is really nice for those smaller meeting spaces. On here it says up to 5 by 5 meters, so that's kind of even a little bit of a larger space, and we're going to see it live here in a minute as well. And then there's just a little bit more about the behavior of the ring and the privacy shutter there, so you can see when it's out of the meeting, shutters closed, there's no illumination on the ring. You know that this thing is back to sleep when you're not in the meeting there. So just it's very intuitive the way it behaves. Everybody knows immediately what it's doing just by looking at it in the room.
Yeah. And that, this is pretty critical for a lot of different verticals and segments, right? Healthcare, education, where obviously privacy is top of mind. That mechanical shutter, right, is something we see our customers ask for all the time. It's just that security that the camera, right, isn't being remote viewed or any of those type of things in a patient environment or a student environment. So it definitely meets the need of all of our customers, from business, putting it in schools, patient rooms. We see a lot of applications, right? And that mechanical shutter, the LED indicators, right, are all the things that our integrators and our designers need to be able to deploy a bar in those spaces.
So let's talk a little bit about mounting the bar. One thing too that I really have to tip my hat to our design team at DTEN is that they really thought a lot about the mounting bracket that's included in the box. So you can see it there on the right side of this slide. That's the mounting bracket that comes in the box. It has kind of a very interesting shape to it. So you can see there's those knobs on the bracket itself. Those knobs are used for the bar to mount right on top of those knobs. And having it knobs instead of like a hook or some kind of a cleat is that it allows that flexibility of vertical, horizontal. You can use the same mounting bracket for either one. What I really like to talk about though is at the bottom of this bracket, there's those little wings that pop out, and that's a built-in cable management piece there that's super convenient. You can fish all of your cables right through that little slot there, so you can route them behind the display that this is attached to. So you can use the same bracket above, below, vertically. You can just fish those cables right behind the display, so it's a super clean install. Question I'm sure will pop up: is this VESA? Yeah, absolutely. This is a VESA standard that's included in the bar. I believe it's a 400 by 600. So definitely it's a kind of a standard that it'll work with any other VESA mounts that you might have or might require. All right, so we're going to talk about the Mate because it's just a really great little controller that's included in the Small Arm Solution Kit. And then we're going to jump into our recorded demo with Dave Silverstein. So about the Mate, if you guys haven't tried the Mate, if you haven't had the experience with it, definitely get in touch with us so we can get one to you to try. What's so cool about the Mate is that it comes in essentially two flavors. There's the Mate PoE, which is a wired solution that you're probably familiar with. And then there's a wireless, the Wi-Fi model, which, as you can see here in this picture, you can lift it off that cradle and carry it around. It does have its own battery in there, so you can walk around the room. You have all those controls right at your fingertips as you walk around the room there. Just it gives you so much more versatility. A lot of us, certainly when I'm in the meeting room, I like to pace around a lot. I like to move. I like to be a little bit more dynamic and engage directly with folks that are in the room. And this allows you to do that while still being able to emit participants that might be coming in, or maybe you want to mute the room to have kind of a private conversation with folks that are in the room and not, maybe if you're calling a vendor or a client or something there. So from the Zoom room controller being the DTEN Mate, you can, start meetings, you can browse calendar availability, you can manage your participant views, toggle camera settings. And then just lastly, I want to call attention to the fact that it does have a smudge resistant matte finish, which is really nice because it is a touch screen. So as you're touching it, right, you might get finger oils on it. It's designed to not immediately look super dirty, which is really nice. And then just lastly, a couple of accolades there. I did pick up Best of Show in 2022 at Infocom. And then it also picked up the 2022 Product Design Red Dot Award, which is a super prestigious award there, not given out lightly. So definitely it's got a couple accolades of its own. So now what I'd like to do is play a recorded video. Unfortunately, Dave was not able to join us for the webinar this morning, but we just had a session with him on Tuesday. And we're going to let him tell us all about the bar from his space. So let's take a watch.
Have the bar. So you can see here is the bar. If you can't see this already, I'm going to pull this over so we can all see it from my screen. All right, a couple other things as long as we're looking at the bar and talking about it all at the same time. The first thing is my setup's just a little unique. And as I put in the chat there, we do have an optional TV mount. So if you want to mount the DTEN bar to your Visa mount as part of your TV assembly, you can do that. That's the way I mounted this one so that I can have it on a cart and roll it around. And you can see, here's my TV mount. It comes all the way down to my stand or the wall mount, and the wall mount is part of this assembly. So if I take the bar off, you can see here is the appropriate wall mount that I mount onto with my cable tracking that runs up under the TV if I were to mount under the TV, whether it's on the wall or with the stand. And the beauty of it is if I take this wall mount and I want to put it above, I rotate the wall mount over, I mount the bar like this. Now all my cables will come down and underneath and be hidden behind the TV going the other direction. If I choose to do that, of course, I've got a huge problem, at least in my DTEN world, and that is now my DTEN logo is upside down. So amazingly enough, the covers from the speakers removed, you can rotate to the other side and get the logo to the right direction, no matter which way you mount this, right side up or upside down, depending on how you want to look at it. So however you want to mount it, I have this designed to be below. So I place it below and put it on the hook, and away it goes. There it is, mounted on the wall, doing its thing. So that's kind of the configuration and design for it for the wall mount. You can see how that actually works. I've got it set up here. I've got it plugged to a monitor on the side just so I can see what's going on. But the next thing I want to do for you is I am going to mute my laptop and I will go and unmute the bar. And then you can see the camera, the video, and hear the audio from the bar. So bear with me for a minute and I will come back in on the bar appropriately. Volume up here, I unmute myself, I turn on my video appropriately. You should now be able to see me from the bar. So this is the widest shot from the bar. There's the camera angle. Of course, I have all the same camera controls. Sorry, I don't have a large number of people around me. But if I turn on auto framing, it's going to find all the people in the room. That's me. And frame up the shot appropriately. About 12 foot away from the bar right now. And you can certainly see that for a small 6-person conference room, this is a perfect solution for everything that's going on in the room. If I go back to the manual position again, pull it all the way out appropriately, we can do some quick audio tests for you appropriately. Because remember, DTEN audio is a very strong portion of everything that we do. And it doesn't really matter whether I'm right up against the bar, whether I'm facing the other direction, talking away. Some people in conferences and meetings, they like to pace. They got to walk around and get a feel for everything. And if that happens and you're a remote participant, the last thing you want is people's audio dropping out because they turn and they're looking away from the screen, or they get really loud when they're coming up to the screen appropriately. So DTEN does a very good job of keeping the audio level no matter where it is. And as you can see, audio, no matter where I am in the room, you can hear me perfectly fine. I know I'm not going to chat anymore, but I know somebody in that chat is going, go ahead, test this thing out and really drive it crazy. So I will. I'll go all the way over to the couch. The couch is roughly 28 feet away from the bar. And I'll sit on the couch for you appropriately. Certainly, this is not the use case for a D10 bar to be 28 feet away from the user, but if there is a scenario where somebody is 28 feet away, you can certainly still hear what they're saying, even though they're not the primary people in the room. So from an audio coverage point of view, I don't see any problem with the D10 bar at all. From the video coverage in the room, camera's great. It does everything it needs to do. And of course, here I'll put it back in auto tracking so you can see it follow me around appropriately. And it'll move right with me nice and smooth. If somebody else were to come in and sit down, it would widen out and include everybody in the room. So there you go.
Have.
All right. So so cool. I really wish you could have seen that demo live because it's so cool. I particularly love this the part where he walks all the way to the back of the room. He's sitting on his couch. I think he said he's 28 feet away. I just feel like that's such a great demo. And you notice too, he has hard, I think it's like a poured concrete floor. He has glass windows on either side. So the acoustics in his room aren't super great, but the bar still sounded really nice. So thank you guys. I know that was kind of a little bit of a longer video to watch. So definitely appreciate you sticking through on that one.
Big shout out to Recorded Dave for that demo.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
I think even you know what's crazy about that is it's a camera shot that's compressed, right, sent into a meeting, then you compress it again, you put it into YouTube, so all these things are happening to that image, and even through that recording, right, compressed, expanded, phenomenal, right, video quality, super clear in the room. The cameras are great in this thing, and then those microphones, right, that classic D10 audio, right? The multi microphones, right? The DSP, the AI we're applying to this stuff, regardless of 6 feet to 30 feet in the room, you couldn't hear a level difference or a quality difference at all, right? In his audio. So really, really amazing stuff. And that's been the highlight, I think, of the feedback, not the, the design ideas with the vertical, and that's the compelling part. That's the exciting part for the designer. But then once you really take this thing for a spin, you're pretty amazed by the quality of meeting that can be had.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I hope you guys also picked up on that as well. Certainly we've had kind of a longer development cycle of the D10 bar, but it absolutely has been worth the wait. This thing is really well designed, well thought through. Just really a great product. And I think once you get one for yourself, you'll really agree with what we're saying here. So let's take a look at what's in the box. There was a question about that. When you pick up the small room solution kit, which is it's bundled in the channel here, so all of your favorite D10 distributor or reseller can set you up with this kit here. You get the D10 bar, you get the bar remote, which can be used to control the bar, and also it's used in initial setup there. The Mate PoE or Wi-Fi, which is what we're recommending as the Zoom Room controller there. Your choice, same cost. USB-C BYOD cable, as I mentioned, it comes with that 6 foot, 1.8 meter in the room. It is a little bit short, but if you want to pick up a longer one, that's available to you as well. It comes with an HDMI cable that you can use to connect it to a display. So if you are planning on using this for a dual display setup, which personally I recommend, I'm always sharing content in meetings. Very, very infrequently do I ever just meet with somebody without some piece of media to share there. You'd want to pick up another HDMI cable for the actual deployment there. Comes with the wall mount kit, which includes that super cool bracket that I'm super excited about. It comes with a welcome guide and, of course, universal power adapters. So whether you're deploying this in the US or somewhere else, you'll have the adapters required for all the different wall outlets on that one. And then I just want to call your attention to the fact it comes in at $29.99, which is an incredible price for this kit. Looking at other similar bars in the market, this is very, very competitively priced. So really a great price points is coming in. Let's talk about D10 Orbit as well. So when you pick up the D10 small room solution kit or the D10 bar, it does come, like all of our other D10 solutions, backed with D10 Orbit Basic. So Orbit Basic allows you to go into a cloud-based dashboard and view device health. It lets you take a look at your firmware version. You can see the status of the bar, whether it's in use, whether it's asleep, if it's inactive, whether it's unplugged. You can also manage your warranty. You can manage your actual support tickets through DTEN Orbit. It's also the best way for you to get directly in touch with our support team. So when you go into DTEN Orbit, there's a chat bot that comes up. That's actually a real person on the other end. That's a real DTEN support person that's answering that chat on the other end there. So, right, this is something that's included free with every DTEN device that you pick up, is you'll have the ability to go in there and directly interface with our support team. And then also you can pick up a DTEN paid Orbit plan, DTEN Orbit Pro, which will give you extended warranty. You'll have the warranty extended through the length of the plan you pick up, whether 1 or 2 years. And then of course, you'll have some other additional benefits there. You'll have much faster response time. You'll have a higher priority for all of your support tickets that are submitted. And then I also want to call attention to a new thing that we came out with just late last year called DTEN Orbit Mission Control. And Mission Control is so cool. It allows you to really leverage the DTEN support team to maintain all of your devices for you in the back end. You don't really have to do anything at all. We'll go in, we'll monitor the device from our dashboards. We'll make sure that everything is working correctly. We'll take a look at the camera, the microphones, the status, make sure everything, the touch screen is working appropriately. And we'll do that in the back end. So we can actually have back end access into the device. We'll set up a time with you when is appropriate for your company for us to go in and take a look. So whether it's, late at night or on like, some time where folks aren't using the room, that's when we'll go in and access it so that we're not, bugging people that might be in the room.
Yep.
So definitely think about DTEN Orbit for all of your devices, all of your DTEN devices, particularly with the bar. It just adds so much more convenience for your IT teams. It allows you to lower your overheads. And folks that I talk with that do pick up Orbit plans absolutely love it. They say it's one of those things that's like a game changer for them.
Yep.
So I'm a big fan of Orbit, and I'm sure quite a few on the call here have used it and also love it too. So let's talk a little bit about kind of those core things about this system that really are so great. Right, the versatility. Let's just review. Right, being able to mount it above, below, between 2 screens, so amazing there. The interop, right, with that BYOD cable, you can plug this into a laptop running Teams. You can have it running Blue Jeans if that's your flavor. Of course, Microsoft Teams will work on a laptop. It'll have Microsoft Teams baked into it natively a little bit later on this year. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be definitely making a lot of noise about it. It'll be hard to ignore once we really start talking about Teams there. 4K camera, 12 microphone array, 30-watt speaker output on this one. DTEN Orbit with Mission Control. Orbit is included. Mission Control, something you can pick up additional. It's really not very expensive there. And then unmatched extensibility with view cameras. So absolutely adding view a little bit later on this year, you can just extend that coverage. So many more camera angles in the room for Smart Gallery, for Intelligent Director. Right, it's just it's such a powerful little system there with view as well. So that's all I had in the slide deck, and there's still quite a few Q&A questions there. I'd love to go through a few more of these questions with you guys. So Scott, Adrian, are there any particular questions that you'd like to fish out that you want to talk about? Or maybe something that we ran through in the deck that you're seeing a lot of questions on that's worth a little bit more discussion?
We've got a lot of questions about RAM and processor and so on. So it's an Android-based OS, and we use ARM-based processors. Pretty much everybody is using ARM or they're using a Qualcomm chip. I mean, there's nothing special there. In terms of RAM, I mean, there's enough RAM in the hardware to support 4K video on the HDMI outputs to ingest 4K video and then scale it down to 1080p, which is sort of the requirement that Zoom has and in the future Teams. So the hardware is really built to allow for future growth and expandability, and everything that we think based on the software roadmaps we've seen from Zoom and Teams are going to throw at us. So that is our hope and our belief. And there's certainly been lots of questions about external peripherals for USB and so on. That's not supported today. We certainly have things roadmap in the future for external peripherals. Android-based systems, it's a little harder than a Windows-based OS to add external things. It gets a little flaky because it becomes more plug and pray instead of plug and play. But those are certainly things that are a roadmap for the future. Um, there's we have a lot of things that we've internally tested that we have in sort of betas that we really can't talk about and show the public, but we do have a lot of very interesting applications that the bar will be able to do as the year progresses, as we start releasing more firmware, as our engineering team gets other applications and use cases built out.
Very cool. Yeah, thank you for that, Adrian. And Adrian, looks like you got a little shout out too from Peter Stern. So thank you so much for
Hey, Peter.
definitely digging into Q&A as we've been going through this deck. Love it. Scott, are there any particular questions that you've been jumping on that you think can warrant a little bit more discussion here as well?
You know, one of the major themes I see, Jackson, which is, you know, a common question even when we're dealing with all-in-ones, is extra stuff needed in the room, right? We see this question all the time, and I think it's, you know, kind of nature of the previous bar market and what products might be available or what use cases, you know, they're showing customers. But you know, one thing DTEN does from the start is build everything you need into our devices, supported front of room, and that's going to be the camera quality, what we can do with our AI and our software to find multiple people, identify them, put them in their own in their own quadrant or their own gallery view. 12 microphones with AI and DSP locating people at multiple different places and depths in the room, and it's really an experience that our all-in-one customers know and they're used to. That all this extra stuff isn't really required, especially in the small room kit. The AV, the IO, everything you're going to need to really make a flexible, high-powered room is just built in right to the devices all in one. So, you know, taking these things for a test drive, knowing that the same quality and experience you get from our all-in-ones are also going to be, you know, in our bar systems is something our customers, I definitely think, can take away from this. And you know, like I say with our touch devices, right? You got to take these things for a test drive, take them for a spin. So reaching out to us, to their account managers, right? And being able to set up an experience for yourself, I think is important. And you'll find that, you know, that mentality of needing extra microphones and stuff in the ceiling and these things all over the room, they're not really required to kind of pair up with our small room solution.
Yeah, great.
And there's a really good question here from Brian, you know, just in a comment, and you know, to his point, yeah, a lot of the Zoom, you know, or I would say Android-based appliances, whether they be using Zoom or Teams, they generally have a high CPU load. And usually it's, you know, I hate to throw our UC partners under the bus, but sometimes the software is just not as optimized as we as a hardware manufacturer would like to see. And so we work with our UC partners, saying, hey, you know, tweak it here, tweak it there. And they do a really good job of trying to make those adjustments. But there's also a ton of other OEM vendors inside those ecosystems. And so it really is kind of a you know, a real negotiating relationship, trying to get the best benefit. And, you know, you may not see those benefits right away. They might be, you know, 4 or 5 hardware revisions or even software revisions down the road in terms of like firmware before everything starts to get synced up. Because it's just such a changing, evolving market, especially when you're dealing with a software-based system. And so, you know, yes, there are a lot of environments where we would express to our UC software providers, hey, you could make this more efficient, and we certainly try to help and assist that with our AI, you know, in terms of giving Zoom and Microsoft great video, great audio. Our audio, we sample at a very high bit rate, but we're also limited to the bit rates that the external codecs for those providers have. So we may be sampling at 48, but Zoom only takes 24. So we have to do a little bit of a down sample internally to make their codec function and get the best benefit overall.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Adrian. And with that, Scott, there's a question came in just about availability throughout the world. Would you mind jumping on that question? then we'll probably end up calling it a webinar after that.
Yeah, I think you'll see throughout the course of January, definitely the US, Canada. We have EMEA coming online, APAC. So this is, you know, a global release over the next probably 30 to 45 days. A couple certifications left to get into these last final countries, but you know, feel free to reach out to your account manager. They've got the timeline for this, but not expected to drag out. This is a global release, and we'll have these things available in all 140 countries where you can currently find DTEN.
Fabulous. Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for sticking it out. I know we're over time here, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Thank you, Scott, so much. Thank you, Adrian. Absolutely. And thank you, Chris Lotspeech, also in the back end, helping us out with some of our back end stuff. Certainly with a lot of our emails and stuff going into this webinar. Thank you so much for your help on this. And thank you all of you again for tuning in. Keep an eye out. I'm going to be sending you guys some follow-up information here. I've got some solution brief materials. I've got a spec sheet I'm going to share with you. Some other stuff as we continue to roll out new stuff for this bar. So definitely expect to hear from me. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, Jackson. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody. Have a great new year.